Victory or death.
The warrior journey starts, well, from the beginning, right from the womb. Only the toughest will make it through the so-called warrior trials that will either make or break you as a warrior, the leveling process. If you're playing solo, that is. Leveling will be a challenge in it on itself for any warrior. Now granted, no matter the class you play in Classic, leveling will always prove to be a challenge for any solo player. Pulling more than one mob and not being ready for it can lead to a wipe. Only warlocks and hunters with their pets have it the easiest, and specs like frost mages can also do wonders with kiting, but warriors always have to charge in and hope for the best. Slow attacks, constant misses, constantly getting hit, crying for any drop or hint of rage to use any of your abilities. All of that will drive any warrior to its knees, having to stop and eat every few pulls. Fighting 2 mobs at a time will almost always lead to a certain death on the lower levels, unless lucky with crits or CDs like Retaliation or a passing by priest. But as warriors, we will persist and we will endure. Once we manage to get out of that hell that is the first 20 to 30 levels, we will be rewarded handsomely for our valiant efforts. Getting abilities like Whirlwind, Mortal Strike will feel awesome at any epic piece, but nothing shall beat the trial that is to get the so-called Berserker stance, especially as an Alliance player. Most regular abilities in Classic comes from the trainer, with gold that is ever so precious to you, but some, like stances, come from a quest, and the Berserker stance embarks you on yet another journey, leading across continents, all to reach an island in the middle of nowhere in the barren sea, fighting against a group of other warriors, Fight Club style, only to come victorious and be awarded the coveted Berserker stance. Now you deal more damage but also take more, opening a vast array of new abilities for you to use like Intercept and Pummel. Now you can finally use a charge-like ability in combat. You can finally reach those pesky mages. But the warrior trials, the warrior journey and challenges doesn't stop there. Oh no. We are still offered one of the most iconic and most badass questlines in the game. The Whirlwind weapon, or axe, let's be real. A quest chain that you can pick up at level 30, but that realistically can only be completed 10 levels later. But if you have friends, you can complete it earlier, meaning that you will get a weapon in your low 30s that was meant for level 40, meaning that the days of fearing any mob you encounter are gone, as you get those glorious hits and crits. But isn't just the daunting premise of the large span of levels that this quest presents to you in terms of difficulty, but on itself is a quest that will take hours and hours to complete, even with help, having you travel all over Azeroth in search of items that you'll need to obtain this prestigious weapon. And just like Berserker stance, you will feel rewarded, comparable to getting a legendary piece in retail WoW. These are just a few examples that makes the warrior leveling feel awesome. Taking in consideration how annoying, difficult it can feel, you have these moments during your journey that will make it all worthwhile. And then, you will feel like a badass. You will feel like, well, a warrior. Gameplay in Classic WoW throughout all classes can be easily mocked by 1 to 2 button masters or auto attack Andes in the case of Retribution Paladins, and warriors can fit on that meme category somewhat. Mortal Strike or Bloodthirst, Heroic Strike, Whirlwind with the occasional Overpower or Slam, stance dancing and the use of macros are the most complex things you will find on a warrior. Got to sunder armor more, am I right? These statements can be easily exaggerated and turned into memes, but warriors, due to stance dancing by having a lot of abilities locked behind these states of combat, does make the warrior fall on that higher skill ceiling category, in my opinion. Anyone can start playing and mash whirlwinds, mortal, and a heroic strike, or bloodthirst, but those with better skill stand out from their peers, be at DPSing, be at stance dancing, or even tanking. And in PvP is where this skill will be showcased the most. Sure, I love me some old school rogue and mage PvP videos. Naked rogue PvP videos are the best. Or even shaman ones. But none shall top the awesomeness that was warriors PvP videos. Just make sure to bring a pocket healer, an OP weapon, and new golden, with of course some Disturbed or Linkin Park songs in the background as the cherry on top. These timeless PvP videos led the rise to the first WoW YouTube celebrities like Pat, or more prominently Swifty. However, it isn't just PvP that warriors ruled over, sort of. In PvE, taking aside the struggles of leveling, warriors proved to be the best of the best on both the roles they could perform. Want the best DPSers? Bring warriors. Want the best tanks? Bring warriors. There are exceptions, of course, and isn't without its downsides. Warriors can be extremely gear dependent in order to perform well when it comes to DPS, but that downside also has its upside. Being extremely gear dependent means that as classic progresses and gear gets better and better, warriors are just gonna hit harder and harder, be in PvE or PvP. But it doesn't stop there. Rage, the resource that you so hated while leveling, barely giving you enough to click your glorified auto-attack ability, with gear will become ever more abundant, and while mages, warlocks, and even hunters have to struggle and manage their mana in the most pathetic ways, for us warriors, well, we can just keep on hitting harder and harder, with the only concern being aggro from how much damage you are dealing, to then finally reach those oh so sweet executes.
Like you'd be like an execute machine, you know, like you're looking for people, 20%, you see somebody at 20%, boom, execute, see somebody at 20%, boom, execute, 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 execute.
Then you have tanking. Sure, paladins and druids could tank to some extent, but no spec could reach the skill and toolkits the warrior tanks possessed. And you didn't even have to be spec'd into protection to do it. Sure, Sunder armor memes are great, and to some extent that will be our main focus. But actually having to manage aggro and what abilities you have to press at any certain time, managing rage, managing what mobs you hit, managing your stances, makes tanking in Classic, especially as a warrior, a far more skilled role than any tank in current WoW. You will be grateful for a tank that will be able to grab each and every mob. You will be grateful for a tank that will survive the toughest boss or trash pull. And in the end, that tank will always be a warrior. There's not much to dislike about warrior gameplay, unless of course it's not for your personal tastes. They were amazing at raiding in either roles, with all specs viable in some way or another. Amazing in PvP, amazing in dungeons, and always needed for that content. They are a pain to level, yes, but with amazing reward systems. Rage can be an annoying resource until you get decent gear with hits, crits, and the like, but the most annoying thing about warriors has got to be the weapon skills. Being able to be the master at arms and wield any weapon in a game, or even being able to dual wield with the right gear as Fury is awesome, but unlike rogues, which might change from daggers to swords with the occasional mace, or hunters from guns to bows, warriors will be changing from two-handed maces, axes and swords to one-handed swords, maces and axes, to daggers if you're doing some weird maximizing. Meaning that you will be forced constantly to go out of your way farming mobs mindlessly to level your weapon skill in the Eastern Plaguelands every time you change your weapon. Miss after dodge. But we are warriors. We spent our entire leveling process sitting and eating, dying at every mispull. We will endure, right?
Hello, darkness,
Right?
my old friend.
That said, there's yet two other things that makes playing a warrior infuriating. It's not all rainbows. Being kited by a skilled frost mage or hunter, especially knowing that you could almost one-shot him if you could get freaking close with your execute. And 2, absorb shields. Absorbs means no rage, means punching your keyboard. Yeah.
Okay, dude, yo,
What the fuck?
yo, what the? Hey, relax, buddy.
No MMO or RPG goes without cool looks, and Warriors had arguably the best gear in Classic. The tier sets from every tier were simply unique and awesome, especially compared to other classes from tier 1 to tier 3. They were huge and properly fitting a warrior, and that is without mentioning all the huge ass weapons like the Ash Candy, Corrupted Ashbringer, and so many more, and even legendaries are all catered towards the warrior. In PvP, once again, we were met with iconic gear that will put fear in the heart of your enemies, with Grand Marshal or High Warlord sets, armor and weapons that in terms of looks still holds up to this very same day. And it isn't just in-game gear that looks awesome on warriors. Even while leveling, sets such as the Scarlet set remains iconic. Weapons like the Whirlwind Axe, Ravager, or even the helmet from Razor Fen is all gear that we will remember getting even years later and make you feel like a badass for it. Warriors are not a perfect class in Classic. Many might argue rogues and mages can perform and do better than warriors. But they pretty damn close and ticks the boxes for everything that makes you feel good when playing a game. So why not a warrior? I for sure going for one and finally be able to feel like a tank and, well, a warrior again, as opposed to the spammy mess that is today. As always, thank you for watching and do let me know what you think of warriors in Classic and what class are you gonna play come 27th of August. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you all again very soon.